Hey everybody, welcome to 5 Minutes With. It's a new segment that CWN is launching in order to get to know some of our network in a more human way. And today I'm so excited to spend 5 minutes with Will Bricker, who's from Hustle Fund. He's been an amazing supporter of the Canadian Women's Network. He's met with many of entrepreneurs from our network and provided advice and gotten involved. And he answers all my emails all the time, which is just amazing given how busy they are over at Hustle Fund. I want to say thanks in advance to Will for joining us. I know you're going to really enjoy these next 5 minutes with him. And I want to give a special shout out today is we are at Work Nicer in Edmonton, Alberta for this segment. And I'm really excited to be part of the Work Nicer family now and to be able to use their spaces across Canada. So with that, I hope that you'll enjoy our 5 minutes with Will. Will, it's so great to see you again.
Always great to see you.
Thank you so much. In the pre-opening that I recorded, I talk about just how you always answer my emails and respond, and I know how busy you are, and it's I really appreciate that. So thank you. I'm always excited to spend time with you. And today we have a nice short little segment to get to know you, not as necessarily the investor that we speak about all the time, but you a little bit more as a human being. So I'd love for you to just first share who you are and maybe some of the titles that you own outside of principal at Hustle Fund, and maybe even titles that people call you or share with you that you might not own yourself.
Okay, I'll try to keep it PG-13. People call me.
Not necessary. I didn't say that was required in these.
So I'm Will. I'm born and raised in New York my whole life. Background is in kind of like boring finance stuff. At one point, I decided it wasn't fulfilling, threw away my career, and decided to take the jump into VC because it's a great opportunity to learn new things and meet cool people and feel like you're authentically helping the people you work with. So my titles, New Yorker. I definitely identify number one as a New Yorker. Scuba diver. It's my favorite thing to do. I've been doing it since I was 13. What else? Data nerd is another good one. I think I'm a pretty good data nerd. And transparent, very for better or worse. Transparent and analytical. My fiance will tell you that if she sees me open up a spreadsheet one more time for trip planning, she'll lose her mind.
And I've experienced a few of those with you. I especially love the transparency side. And we've had you on doing a session on valuation, so we saw the data nerd side. You also have a little like somebody behind you.
Yes.
Thing behind you.
Dog father. Dog father is another good one. Yeah, my
dog father, not the Godfather, but the dog father.
Dog father.
Awesome. What's the dog's name?
Louis. We got him he's a little bit of everything. Rescued him during the pandemic, and he is with me every day in the office I work in, for better or worse.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Will, tell me who's been your greatest influence in your life?
Yeah, so like I think like the easy answer is always your parents. So I'm gonna go outside of that, and I'd say that like one of the most influential set of people I had were my middle school mentors. I was kind of like, a little bit of a class clown, getting in trouble, and my principal, Mr. Birchie, my advisor, Miss Murphy, and my teachers, Monteras, Mr. and Mr. Montera, kind of at one point just grabbed me and they were like, "We're gonna watch over you, and we're gonna make sure that you understand that like you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you see every morning." I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be tough." But for basically middle school, high school, they really took me under their wing. They went out of their way to make sure that I grew up and developed myself in the right way. And it was one of the most like influential life experiences I've ever had.
That's awesome. Have you ever reconnected with them? Shared?
I text with them probably. I speak to each of them probably once a year. And then Mr. Birchie actually passed away while I was in high school. And when I was in college, I wrote a huge note to his widow about what he meant to me. And so,
That's a huge statement of character on your part. That's awesome. And I know that would
Really
be
important.
so well received. Awesome. I had someone in college that told me that I just wasn't asking enough questions. Like I had to ask the next question, not just what was in front of me. And that I felt has been like life-changing for me. So I think there's probably a lot that have a teacher that's kind of pushed in a way that's made us a better person. But at the time we were probably like, ooh, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, mentors are so important, like personally and professionally, and just getting somebody else's perspective and somebody else to kind of tell you the things you need to hear, I think is always important in life. And
Yeah.
so I've always tried to have that.
So there's a question I have, and you can either answer it in what you do or maybe what you inspire to do. But, as a VC in today's world, and as a New Yorker too, probably, and our lives are so full, it's really hard finding balance. I don't even think there's the right word. But what is it that you do that maybe just brings you some sense of calm or fulfillment inside of this really crazy world that we live in? And if you don't do it, then is there something you aspire to do?
So I think like day to day, I just love to nerd out and read the news and articles about random things. But I would say that actually my number one kind of sanctuary in life is gardening, or plants. So I've got over 200 plants in my New York City apartment. I have
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're
I
gonna have to have a picture of that.
I give them away as gifts. I love it's something I used to do with my mother. And after she passed away, I actually took it back up, and it's my thing. It's like the thing I love. So when I moved from California back to New York, I actually sent a bunch of my plants both times, like there and back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how dedicated I am. Or crazy.
What's your favorite type of plant then?
Well, I'll tell you my favorite plant. So my favorite plant is a pothos that my grandfather had and my mother had and then gave to me. And so it's like wherever I go, if I can, I bring a cutting of it with me and kind of grow it in the new place that I live. So I've got a lot of them. I've given them up to all my best friends and family. Bro, please stop giving us pothos cuttings. But it's the plant that means the most to me.
Wow. There's this like soft, tender side of Will.
Hey, yeah, make sure you edit that out in post.
Yeah, no, this is what it's all about. I love it. Tell us what your greatest accomplishment to date has been.
So I think one of them would probably be like the reinvention myself when I was younger, but then the other one was taking care of my mom when I was in high school. She got sick. There was nobody else that was around to take care of her, and so it was like all right, time to grow up and be the responsible person in this relationship. And so I took care of her for years. I went to Boston College. I'd come back every so often to try to help her when she needed it. And so just being able, I think, to kind of rise to the occasion in some ways and add value and feel like I was there for somebody, I think is my greatest accomplishment.
That's amazing. You mentioned she passed, so I know she's looking down on you and so proud of the human being that you are today and all that you do. Yeah. So on that theme then, what do you have left to accomplish, or what's your next accomplishment that you'd like to achieve?
So I think one of the great things about my life is I've had a lot of people who've kind of come in and tried to add value to my life in a way that went over and above. And there's this idea of kind of I don't know, in economics, talking about the economic pie and increasing the size of the pie. And so my goal is to kind of add more than I've taken in, if that makes sense, and try to do that on a personal, professional level with the people I interact with. So that's actually why I love BC, right? It's because it's a great opportunity to kind of really tangibly help somebody with something they care a lot about. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And so being able to kind of progress in this world, help founders ideally rise up the ranks in BC is great. And I'm hoping to get married soon too on a more short-term tangible basis. It's a little bit hard because my fiance is Canadian. And so to switch over visas in the United States is a really interesting exercise, which we will not cover in this conversation.
But I've been there and done that. So if you
want. Yeah, people ask us when are we getting married? It's great question, no idea. you can ask the United States government. So yeah, so
Wow.
those are some, I think like I'm starting to get to that age where I want to set up kind of the next phase of my life.
Yeah.
And so just preparing and getting ducks in line for that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That we wish you luck definitely on the marriage side of things there. And I've
Yeah.
been in the States for 20 something years and have gone through several different forms of that immigration process and have seen
Yeah.
people, so they don't make it easy. Last question before I ask if maybe there's a question I didn't ask, but what would be a piece of advice or a quote that you want to leave with our readers?
Oh, we your readers. So like everybody I think loves this quote and knows this quote and lives by it, but like that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so it's the idea of like, you're kind of gonna have things thrown at you in life. It's not gonna be ideal.
Yeah.
But trying to find like the learning, the lesson, and the growth from it, I think is like crucial to keeping going and getting better. And so that's kind of the mantra I live by. It's a little bit dark, I think. Yeah, I should have picked something else. But yeah.
No, I will respond to that and say, except for bears, like bears will kill you. There's a cute like graphic that I have that says exactly that. And growing up in Alberta with a lot of bears, it's the one thing I'm super fearful of is bears. So
that makes like a lot of sense.
right. There may be a few other things that could kill you as well, not make you stronger. So,
Yeah.
Will, any question that I haven't asked or something that you want to share before we close?
About me? No, I don't have much to share. I think you've covered some really weird and intimate parts of my life that I think will be interesting, ideally, or weird for people to take in. I got a lot of other weird things though. That's kind of
I imagine that'll be hopefully one day in person we'll meet and we can have a
absolutely.
coffee, a beer, a glass of wine, or a drink of choice for it.
Diet Coke. I'm a big Diet Coke fan.
Diet Coke. Okay. I'm a Coke girl. So at least you're not Pepsi.
We can
That would be worse. Thank you so much for your time and joining us. Really appreciate it.
Fabulous. As always, thank you, Joanne.